When most people think of upper body training, often the first lift that comes to mind is the bench press. And this is for a good reason, because the bench press is one of the best exercises you can do for your chest, your shoulders and your triceps. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Anand from UnderdogStrength.com, and if you're already subscribed to my channel, you may have already seen the video that I just made on the flat bench press. And if you haven't checked that video out already, I'm gonna leave a link down in the description below for you to check out. Now, in any sort of pressing exercise, especially if it's a bench press, the main muscle that we'll be focusing on is called the Pectoralis Major, or Pec Major in short. Even though the flat bench press is a great exercise for your chest, it by itself is not enough if you want complete development of your pecs. And this is because your pecs can be divided into two heads, the clavicular head and the sternocostal head. The clavicular head originates at your clavicle or your collarbone, and this is also commonly known as the upper chest, and this is going to be the focus of this video. So if you want to develop your chest muscles completely, we have to find the best exercises to do it and also how to do them correctly. Now, some of the best exercises for your upper chest include your barbell, incline press, dumbbell press, machine press, or cable flies, or even cable presses. One exercise that I would not recommend is using a Smith machine, simply because of the unnatural bar path. It can place a lot of stress on your shoulders. Now, I'll be making a lot more videos on all the various exercises and how to perform them correctly in the future, but in this video we'll be focusing on the incline barbell press. As you can see in this video, the muscles that are being used are highlighted, and you can clearly see that the upper pecs are highlighted, the front delts are highlighted, and the triceps are highlighted. You may also see that the lats are also highlighted because they act as stabilizers when it comes to most pressing movements. But that being said, the lats are not directly involved in actually pressing the weight. Now, before we begin, I'd like to recommend a couple pieces of equipment that will help you bench more effectively. The first thing is obviously to get an adjustable bench, and this is especially if you have your own gym or a home or a garage gym. You can easily buy these online, and make sure that it's adjustable with different heights. The second thing that I recommend is to use wrist straps in almost any sort of benching, because they will help protect your wrist and also help you press in a straight line. And the third thing that I recommend for a lot of different lifts is to get some gym chalk. This is very cheap and you can pretty much find it anywhere, and you can even buy this online, but it's gonna help you grip the barbell better, and you can even put it on your bench to help you grip the bench better. As far as the actual bench press angle, I recommend that most people start with an angle of about 30 to 45 degrees, which will provide a good balance of using your chest, shoulders and triceps. But as you can see here, once you start going higher in terms of the angle, it becomes more of a shoulder and tricep exercise and less of a chest exercise. And if you raise the angle high enough, it will become more of an overhead press than an actual bench press. So for most people, I recommend they start with 30 to 45 degrees, and if you want to focus more on the chest, then stick to 30, and if you want to emphasize a little bit more of your shoulders, then you can go to 45, but there won't be a major difference either way. As you can see in this video, an angle of about 30 to 45 degrees provides a good balance of using your chest, your front delts and your triceps. Now, one thing that is universal to almost any style of bench is that you have to learn how to retract your shoulder blades, and this simply means that you push your shoulders back and down. And on the image on the left, you will see the top two images are the incorrect way of doing it, where you let your shoulders come forward or you raise your shoulders. You want to do the opposite of that. You want to push your shoulders back and down, and this will put your shoulders in a safe position for you to press. Here's a different angle on how you can do it. Simply pull your shoulder blades back and down, and then you're ready to press. Once you have this position, you then want to take an even grip on the bar. And for most people, I recommend that they find a grip that feels the most comfortable for them. For me, for example, I have really long arms, so I prefer a slightly wider grip, but it's mostly personal preference at this point. Now when it comes to gripping the barbell correctly, one thing you want to make sure is that you actually use a full grip on the barbell, meaning you wrap your thumbs around the bar, and you definitely want to avoid using a thumbless or a suicide grip. I mean, it's called a suicide grip for a reason, and this is because there's a really high risk that the barbell will slip from your hands and fall onto your neck. So you definitely want to avoid using that grip at all costs. And then when you have your grip, the next crucial step is to actually unrack the bar and press. Now the thing about unracking is, if you can use an adjustable rack, then that's the best option, because sometimes if the rack height is not correct, then you either have to shrug, like you can see over here, it's too high for me, and then your shoulders are out of position, and then when you go back to rack it, it's going to be hard for you to rack it without shrugging it again. Or some people set up the bar too low, and then it's just unnecessary stress on your elbows when you do that. So you want to make sure to find a height that is perfect for you and your body type. So you can see in this picture, the image on the left, the rack height is too high. The image on the extreme right, the rack height is too low, and the one in the middle is where ideally you should be. And this simply means that you're able to unrack and rack the bar without having to move your shoulders, so your shoulders still stay in position while you do this. So one great thing about the bench press is that you can emphasize different muscles by using a different grip width. So for example, if this grip is my normal grip, which is not too wide and not too narrow, and this grip is a good balance of using your chest, your triceps and your shoulders. Now this may seem wider than normal for most people, but because I have really long arms, I tend to prefer this grip. This is a really wide grip even for me, and with this grip you're going to be placing a bit more stress on your shoulders and your biceps, and with a slightly narrower grip you're going to emphasize more of your triceps. So depending on your goals, you can actually try different grips, even though it's the same exercise. Just by changing this one thing, you can change the emphasis on the muscle. Regardless of the type of grip you choose to use, as we discussed earlier, you have to focus on keeping your shoulder blades retracted, meaning you push them back and down. And this is even when you bring the barbell down to your chest, and even when you press, as you can see on the video on the left, the shoulder blades still stay together or retracted. Whereas on the right is the incorrect way of doing it, where you let your shoulders come forward. So if you're having shoulder issues, then this might be something you want to look at. Now let's go over the setup from the side. The first thing you want to do is push your shoulders back and down, and then you want to also make sure that your feet are set in position. Now you're ready to unrack the bar. Now when you unrack the bar, you may have noticed that I bring the bar from about eye level to about shoulder level. You see, this is called joint stacking, where the barbell is almost directly over my shoulders, and this is the position in which there's the least amount of stress on your shoulders. And then you simply want to lower the bar to about midway between your chin and your chest, or just below the neck. And if you're not sure where you should touch the bar, make sure to look at your bench press, any sort of bench press, from the side. If you look at it directly from the side, you're gonna notice that if you do it correctly, the barbell will be almost directly over your elbows in a straight line. It's gonna be slightly behind, but you shouldn't deviate too far away from it. You can see one more rep. The barbell is directly over the shoulders, and this is the safest position from where you can bench. Now this is the incorrect way of doing it, where you let the barbell sink too low, and this places a lot of unnecessary stress on your biceps and your shoulders. So make sure to avoid this position. And like I said, this applies to almost any sort of pressing exercises that you do, especially if it's the bench press. Now what you also want to avoid is that you don't want to bring the barbell too high and too close to your neck. Not only is this dangerous, but it will also place a lot of stress or unnecessary stress on your elbows. And in case if you're lifting heavy weights, then you definitely don't want the barbell to fall onto your neck. So to quickly recap, Make sure to film yourself from the side, and make sure you're not bringing the bar too high up on your neck where your elbows are way below the bar, and make sure that you don't lower it too low on your chest. You want to make sure that the barbell is almost directly over your elbows from the side when you press. And here's an image just for your reference. If you like this image, then make sure to follow me on Instagram because I post these kind of images all the time. Now, if you're still having a hard time finding this position, then you can do what I'm doing here in this video, which is I'm pausing between my reps. And when you pause, you typically find out what the best position is for you, because if you pause and let's say if you were to touch too low, then the barbell is gonna slowly start to roll over your chest. And if it's too high, then you can also feel the stress on your elbows and possibly your neck. Once you get more comfortable using the pause position, you can also use a touch and go position like I'm showing over here. But if you're just starting out, then I recommend starting out with a paused bench press. Now, one of the most overlooked aspects of lifting in general is people don't know how to breathe correctly. And this is also very crucial when it comes to bench press, because as you can see on the picture on the left, where if you take a deep breath, it actually expands your diaphragm and your chest actually comes up. And in simple terms, the person on the left who's actually pressing with a full breath, his range of motion will actually be shorter than the person on the right because his chest cavity is a bit depressed. So, and the other benefit of taking a deep breath is that it helps you maintain tightness. So what I like to do is I like to take a breath before each rep, and then I hold that breath when I bring the barbell down, and I might either hold the breath throughout the rep, or I might exhale on the way up. But I make sure that before I perform each rep, I take a deep breath and I hold it in at least on the way down. So to quickly recap, I recommend using a bench press that's adjustable ideally, where you can set the height to about 30 to 45 degrees. And then you want to also make sure that you set up in a way that will allow you to retract your shoulder blades and keep them retracted. And then simply bring the barbell down in a position where your elbows are perpendicular to the floor from the side, meaning that the weight is about directly over your elbows when you're looking from the side. And it's really that simple. And if you want to learn more about this, then make sure to check out my blog post, and I'll leave a link down in the description below. Before I go, I want to give a quick shout out to Tushar on Instagram, who actually requested me to make this video in the first place. And if you guys want to request a video, feel free to leave a comment down below or DM me on Instagram, or you can email me at anand@underdogstrength.com. And if it's a really good topic, then I'll actually consider making a video on it. If you like this video and want to support this channel, then please share this video with a friend. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.